Okay, live. Initially having some trouble with the internet connection, so I wasn't sure how this was going to go. Hopefully it's going to settle down. So if you're watching this back later, this is me warming up. Connection's just gone live and waiting for people to arrive, so it's our private time. You and me, there's no one else. It's just you and me. Share whatever you want with me. No, that's okay. You can say that. Say some more. I'm here to listen. Oh wait, also Aussie Brick Chick's here to listen as well. Hello, how's it going? And hello, Batherite. Here's Gary. Okay, I had some initial warnings about my connection speed, but it seems okay now. I'm just trying to straighten my beard. I have no idea why my beard goes crooked, but it does, and I've never been able to sort of trim it and shape it to stop it from. That's just one of life's little injustices. Maybe it's because it just gets long, maybe it curls. Because my hair gets long, it gets curly. It's a few years since I've had it long enough to be curly, but it happens. Hey Corey, it's just after 7 PM here. I am also excited for the new Doctor Who. Phil and Sela, hello, how's it going? Yes, and plus, of course, being excited by the new Doctor Who means you get to bait some of the real idiots on the internet. So yes, it's just past 7 PM. I had my dinner. Mrs. Angry and her son are watching Star Trek. So is that 5:17 AM, Corey, or PM? Yes, like 7:17 PM here. So still like, yeah, I don't know where I'll do live streams in summer, but in summer it would still be broad daylight and there's all that darkness there behind me. In summer it would still be broad daylight. Ooh, maybe I could even do it outside. I've got this nice little patio area that's still not a long way from like my Wi-Fi modem. Maybe I could do outside broadcasts when it's not so cold. Yeah, right, Aussie Brick Chick, the bro flakes are tragic. And I have to admit, when I look at the things people are saying stuff, it's easy to get the first impulse. I don't think you even watch Doctor Who. Hey there, Tendo. But I reckon a decent chunk of the ones saying stupid things do watch Doctor Who. Hello, Celtic King. But that really stuns me. How can someone watch a show like Doctor Who and not pick up the basic core of the show, which is, you know, about kindness and helping and being good? Like the people who throw the word social justice warrior around like an insult when they're talking about Doctor Who, saying, oh, Doctor Who's bowing to the social justice warriors. Like, that is a term that the Doctor would use to describe themselves. It's utterly surreal to me that someone who says they're a fan of Doctor Who would use the term social justice warrior as an insult. That to me is really weird. Hey there, Toby, how's it going? I was preaching. Some females wanted some boy eye candy. Look, everyone's got to have their turn, really. It's very weird again with the complaints about a female Doctor Who, people apparently being completely oblivious to what they're revealing about themselves when they say things. Like there was a ridiculous comment about, oh, you know, the Doctor shouldn't be wank material. Like, well, you're kind of ignoring the fact that that is how a lot of people saw previous incarnations of the Doctor, and B, if that is literally the only way you can relate to a woman, you're a fairly garbage individual. You're another one in the 5 a.m. time zone. Okay, yes. Oh, I almost did live stream at a very different time of day on the weekend. I thought maybe I'll do it at a really different time of the day. Oh yeah, J-Dub Bible, Toby. That ought to be some good reading. That ought to be some real selective rewriting right there. Yes, well, I know Video Dude's a dirty liar. I don't have either a Quran or an abusive letter from him. So, you know, he is a liar and purveyor of dodgy New Testaments. So, not a very good recommendation. Oh yeah, Tenta, you're right. The Murdoch rag saying, ooh, the new Doctor did nude scenes. Because the new Doctor is an actor and actors do nude scenes. Yeah. So, that's a thing that happens. Mind you, in the other direction, one of the 70s companions, Katie Manning, she was one of the John Pertwee Doctors, Doctor 3. She was a companion of his. Character's name was Joe. And she did a nude spread after she left Doctor Who because, as she said at the time, she wanted to break the shackles of being typecast with Doctor Who, and she couldn't think of a bigger way to separate herself from Doctor Who than doing nude stuff. Oh, Rose, she did the lead in a TV version of that Diary of a Call Girl, which was written by, was it Dr. Brooke Majanti? She's a... What is she? She's like... she did some really advanced study in molecular biology or something, and she paid her way through medical school working as an escort. And... what is the actress's name who played Rose? Billie Piper. Yes, she played her in the TV show. I don't know if that involved actual nudes or if it was implied nudes because I didn't actually see it. But yes, Katie Manning may have... You're right, Rose used to be a pop star. Katie Manning sort of set the trend with actually posing nude with Daleks. Which probably upset the BBC immensely. But I've seen the photos. It was yes, she's like nude and draped on a Dalek. The question, AZ, how's AZ? Well, he doesn't have cancer. So, hurrah for that. Now, I didn't actually tell you all that he was being tested because they suspected he might have had, was it prostate cancer? I think it was prostate cancer. With all these various illnesses and his blood not being like normal people's blood, the doctors have been surmising for years that he had some form of cancer, but it's never shown up on any tests. And last week he told me he was being tested for prostate cancer. Then he told me the test came back clear, so that's nice. He also said he seems to have used the AZ charm on someone at the dental school, and it looks like he will get teeth in a much shorter time than we initially thought, like somewhere between 6 weeks and 6 months. Hey there, Evil Hub. Phil and Celia, you haven't watched Doctor Who since Tom Baker. He was my doctor, Tom Baker. He was the doctor when I really got into Doctor Who. And of course, he was the longest serving doctor as well. So I grew up with him as the doctor. Peter Davison was okay. I stopped watching when Colin Baker was the doctor. I don't know, it just got kind of stupid, or I got to the age where I thought it was stupid. So I didn't watch Colin Baker and I didn't watch Sylvester McCoy Although I've seen some of their stuff, but something about the cheesy 80s stuff, which I'm not into. Well, you met Troughton and Pertwee. Well, there you go. And no one else can meet them now because they're dead. Okay, yeah, Celtic King, I'm not going to do the group funding thing for AngryAussie because he's going to get his teeth much sooner than we thought. He thinks somewhere after it's healed, somewhere between 6 weeks and 6 months, which is so much better than we were thinking. We were thinking 18 months to 2 years, if you rely on things. So hopefully he will be feeling up to coming out in the world. He's promising me another video. He's going to send me another video that I can edit and put up. So you'll be seeing him video-wise soon. But yeah, I would really like to get him for a live stream because I think he'd really enjoy a live stream, and I think you'd all enjoy him on a live stream. But yes, so double good news that he doesn't have cancer, and he's probably getting his teeth much sooner than we thought. But he was full of the love from everyone expressing their support on that video, saying that you would support him in a fundraising thing, and he feels all the love and he's very appreciative. So, but yes, it's good that it appears he won't have to wait all that time to get some teeth. And he'll be like Shane McGowan then. Speaking of being old, for those of you who may be too young to even know who Shane McGowan was, he was quite well known in the 80s as a lead singer for a band called the Pogues. And he was renowned for two things, his alcohol abuse and his terrible, terrible teeth. The all crooked, brown, falling apart like falling over tombstones in an old cemetery. He's regularly known as tombstone teeth. And that just got worse, and both got worse. His alcohol abuse and his teeth got worse. You can find really gross pictures of him in the 90s and the noughties where the teeth just rotted more and more and more till they were just little jaggedy bits. And then finally, he basically had no teeth. And he had all these black stumps around his gums. Yeah, right, Evil. His Christmas duet song with Kirsty MacColl. That was a Pogues song, Fairy Tale of New York. Beautiful song. From one of their best albums, actually. But yes, but Shane McGowan, recently, sometime in the last 5 years, got false teeth, and they're huge. They're sort of huge and perfectly sculpted teeth. And for people who were used to him having these really awful teeth, seeing him with his big mouth of huge teeth is really disconcerting. But AngryAussie will hopefully not be bereft of teeth. You know, Celtic King, AngryAussie is pretty sexy. I mean, who wouldn't be turned on by him? Once he turns on that charm. Oh, Evil Hub, yeah. Shane McGowan, particularly, I think the last studio album he recorded for the Pogues was one that had Summer in Siam, and the album was called Hell's Ditch, I think. But yeah, and even I saw him live just before he really, really, really sank into too much alcohol abuse. And yeah, live he was slurring everything. That was actually a few years before his total crash. That was on the If I Should Fall From Grace With God tour. But yeah, he was fairly messed up. Ooh, that just reminded me of a very funny story at the Pogues concert, because there's a fairly punky edge to Poguesy stuff, and so you get a fairly punky tinged audience. And we're moshing away up the front, and I don't know, one of the local TV stations must have arranged a thing to video part of the song, and so that while the band's performing, they walk across the front of the stage. A guy got a big old camera on his shoulder, and he's got his sidekick holding the recording box and the sound gear and holding on the guy's belt and steering him around. And the audience kind of went, we did not pay for this gig to have you fucking pricks get between us and the act. we're not very okay with that. And people started gobbing on them. And I don't mean one or two people. I mean dozens and dozens of people were spitting on them. And the guy behind the camera operator noticed it because they had their back to the audience, and which was also something I think the audience found really offensive. And spit just starts raining down on them. And I think that the guy behind the camera operator holding onto his belt saw something coming through, you know, because you have all the lights on the stage, and he could see there's something falling through, and he looked up and he just sees it's spit raining, and he's just like, he just went, ew! And he just shaking the camera guy like, no, we've got to, oh, this is awful, we've got to get off the stage. And that was awful and stuff, and I laughed so much. I can imagine a mosh pit in Metallica being a bit... See, I'm not a big guy. Like, I'm only 5'8", right? I'm a little guy. And there were some big guys in this mosh pit, and it was crushed body to body. There was no moving. And with the Pogues, with their sort of traditional Irish-influenced music, bouncing up and down on the spot is the thing to do. And I found myself just wedged between guys who were bigger than me. And when everyone starts bouncing, it's like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. And I go, oh God, my feet aren't touching the ground. I'm actually being suspended between these sweaty bodies, and my feet aren't on the ground. My feet aren't on the ground. Oh my God, this is it. This is how I die. Except if anyone fell down in this mosh pit, everyone would separate and give them space, give them a protective thing, pull them up. And if you were okay, they'd just go, whoa, and get back into it. And if you'd been knocked about a lot, they would pass you back to the safe zone. It was such a respectful mosh pit. So, Joe Will, we've been talking about everything. Coco's last mile, hello there. We're talking about Doctor Who, but you know me, I get distracted and the conversation goes all over the place. I mean, apparently we're not seeing we get Capaldi's final hurrah in the Christmas special, but the new series, I think, is more than a year away. They're saying the latter half of 2018. Although I don't know that for sure. So we've got a long way, but it's interesting because the new showrunner is the guy from, he ran Broadchurch, and of course the new Doctor was in Broadchurch. So they've worked together, so that ought to be interesting. It will, I'm going to be on tenterhooks until it comes out. Like, what are they actually going to do with the whole gender thing? How, because it'd be a real balancing act. You can't pretend it hasn't happened, but you don't want it to be everything either. It'll be very interesting to see. It's like in the last series of Capaldi's, the last two episodes, Heaven Sent and Hell Bent, when he goes to Gallifrey and says, fuck you guys, you've done a bad thing and I'm gonna make you pay. And I think it was the Castellan, the head of the military anyway, who he shot, who regenerated, and it was an old white man regenerates into a black woman. And one of the first things she said was, oh my God, back to normal. I'm so happy. How on earth do you even function with all that testosterone bouncing around inside you? Oh yeah, Beth, right. They've got to bring in the ginger line as well. Oh, Evil Harb, Missy is just friggin' awesome. Okay, you're saying they made it obvious they were gonna make a Doctor Who. Thank you, Toby. I'm looking forward to my Jehovah's Witness Bible. I think they have wanted to, cross that line and do a female Doctor for a long time, and I think they knew it was past time. I mean, apparently the creator of the show said back in the 80s a natural progression was for the Doctor to reincarnate as female. Toby McCall said he's going to send me a Jehovah's Witness Bible, which might be more entertaining reading than this. You don't have to watch it. Oh yeah, Evil Hub. We've got the Peter Cushing films on disc. They're pretty special in their own way. Oh, and a key character in the Peter Cushing ones played Donna's dad in the David Tennant era. Yeah, Rambling Johnny, the female thing, like they obviously, like when Matt Smith came in, his first thing was, I've got long hair, I'm a girl. That they were saying to you then, that's the thing that happened. And in one of his adventures, when he thought he'd found other Time Lords, but it was actually that evil planet that had killed other Time Lords, and but he made a direct reference then to one of the Time Lords who he thought he'd found was a bit of a Lothario, and he made some reference to, you know, whether this Time Lord was male or female. It was the same sort of behaviour. So they're like putting it, you know, it's canon. Gallifreyan can reincarnate as male or female and can also change racial appearance. And then they did it with the Castellan going from an old white man to a black woman. And yeah, so they were obviously going to do it at some point. And it will be really interesting to see what they do with it. You know, I'll maintain a positive outlook. The Corsair, Bathrite, was that the character's name? Oh, sorry, yes, sorry. The Corsair was the Time Lord that we were talking about. God, you've got a good memory. Good job, you. Yes, but I think the Gallifreyan the Doctor shot was the Castellan, the head of the security forces. You'd love to be able to change as a regeneration? Well, Joe, this new season, I think it's the first one that's really brought home. It's like, oh, the Doctor doesn't die, the Doctor regenerates, but it's really brought home that the personality of the Doctor effectively dies. The regeneration, while remembering the past, is actually a different personality. Like Dave Tennant's famous last words, I don't want to go, because he is going. And what I think the new series does well is it has consequence. Yes, Keiko's like, regeneration is a type of death. And there's the old thing with the old Doctor Who, all the side characters die, right? And you're never that emotionally invested in it. But in the very first episode of the new ones, where the conspiracy nut that Rose finds, who thinks he knows something about the Doctor, the key thing he says is, if the Doctor is around, we're in terrible danger because everyone around him dies. And then, of course, that guy dies, and Auton animated shop window dummy kills him. And there's just that little look of resignation in his face as he's staring down the barrel of the gun, and he just like, yep, it was always going to end like this. And it is. This one, I feel like this whole new version is very good at showing consequence, which in the old Doctor Who, there were never consequences. It just, you know, you went on and had another adventure. There was almost no relationship between adventures. In this thing, there's consequences. Actions have consequences. As in Mighty Challenge, wonder how much this will change going forward. Oh yeah, and the companion. What are they going to do with the companion? Now, Keiko, I think Bill's gone. I think Bill is gone as a companion. They made it look pretty conclusively like she was gone in that last episode, like she lost physical form and her water girlfriend took her off into space. I'm almost sure she's gone. They might introduce a new companion. And the Christmas special. I agree, Keiko. No, she was pretty good. She could come back. I noticed they did that with what's her face as well. Previous companion who died, but then came back and she's suspended in that last moment of life, and she's off in her own TARDIS with Maisie Williams flying off through space and time, you know, for as long as she can, but she'll never cross paths with the Doctor again. Yeah, look, Keiko, they might bring her back. Her Eater girlfriend. She could be an Eater girlfriend as well as a Water girlfriend. But there were actually also rumours that people did not get on with the actress who plays Bill, that there was a bit of friction. I don't know. You never really believe those. Rambling Johnny, you've got a side bet of Clara showing up in the Christmas special. Who knows? Who knows? Technically, she always can. But I kind of feel like they set it up that she can't, and it would be cheating if they did bring her back. But, you know, if they can justify it, they can do it. But no, I think they'll bring in a new companion in the Christmas special. I think... you're glad Matt Lucas is gone. I was never really endeared to him either. No, I think he's gone. I was surprised he came back. I was very surprised they kept him on for a while. Yeah, I was not a huge fan of Nardole. But yeah, he stayed with the Celts, didn't he? I'm trying to think what he did. No, but anyway, he we'll see what happens in the Christmas special. Who's a companion and who isn't. But yeah, I think actually the dynamic between female Doctor and companions has scope to be really interesting. One of my friends on Twitter the other day was saying, oh, I know they kind of made it clear they were never bringing River Song back, but River Song interacting with female Doctor would be some quality viewing. Yes, Evil Hub, bringing back a male companion would be good. You've got to break it up a bit now and then. River Song is a very good character. Oh, I don't know. I think Arthur Darvill was more than a sidekick. He was fairly important, and he had some really good stuff. But yeah, River Song was pretty good. I think they did a good job there. And you know what I want them to do? They set it up. They could easily do it. If you remember the bit where it kind of all got revealed who River Song was. River Song was Amy Pond's daughter. And one of the soldiers who joined the army who was trying to wipe out the Doctor just to meet the Doctor, because the Doctor saved her people on the the river planet, and that's where River Song gets her name. And she died in the shoot up, and she had a little dying speech to the Doctor about how, and from what she was saying, from the Doctor's perspective, it obviously hadn't happened yet, but he was pretending he knew what she was talking about. And so that sounded like a fascinating thing, not least because if and when the Doctor does end up in that place, he'll know, like, this girl who he saves and that has a big effect on, she's going to die fighting for him in the future. And that would be interesting. I'm getting a cold. But that would be good. Hey there, Cliff Jumper. Orixen. Wow, if you're not past Matt Smith, you do have a bit to catch up on. Shelf. I grew up with the vintage stuff. I don't really watch it now. I mean, I don't look. It's personal taste is personal taste. But honestly, when people say, oh, wasn't the classic series better? No, by and large, while there were some very good episodes, and I did love the character of the Doctor, and I loved the adventure of the old Doctor, but by and large, compared to the modern series, the classic series, the writing was shit, the acting was shit, the sets and the effects were shit, and there was no sort of sense of consequence or deeper meaning. They could be great adventures with great characters, and I loved them growing up, but honestly, to me, they don't compare. Shellformer, I'm a huge Tom Baker fan. You know, I've got a scarf modelled after his scarf. Huge, great big long thing that I have to loop around a couple of times or it drags on the ground. But, and again, you know, personal taste is personal taste. Yeah, it's not much. Good point, Keiko. Shame Paul McGann didn't get a more of a... My God, speaking of which, when they gave him that little mini short special in the lead up to, you know, being the War Doctor, that was brilliant because I did not see that coming. I didn't know that happened. When I first watched it, when it's, you know, someone stuck in the time war and they're crashing and saying something like, I need a doctor, and you hear the TARDIS and you go, oh, you need a doctor, here he comes. And Paul McGann steps out and says, I'm a doctor, but probably not the one you're expecting. That was fucking brilliant. That was awesome. And that little short of his was really good. And it really does make you think, man, Paul McGann needed a better run, didn't he? Like he does, they've done quite a few audio adventures with him. But you believe Pre-Millennium Doctor Who shared the same set designer as Cell Block H, Prisoner? Yes, I think you may be right. Yeah, I mean, Paul McGann generally is a good actor. He's in one of my all-time favourite films, Withnell and I. Shelfwarmer, did John Pertwee do Venetian Karate or Venetian Aikido? I can't remember. I had this funny feeling it was Aikido, but I know it was, yeah, Venetian, which is, you know, so cheesy. Yeah, Withnell and I, KK, that is like one of my all-time favourite films. So quotable. Absolutely brilliant film, Withnell and I, set right towards the end of 1969. So, you know, some people who think the momentous thing of the 60s ending. Yeah, you're right, Cliffjumper, the McGann Doctor Who was a pilot, was meant to be a series, and it never really made. That wasn't a fantastic pilot, wasn't terrible. Yeah, it certainly wasn't terrible. But yeah, never picked up. A bit of a shame for Paul McGann because that was he's good. He would be very good. And that little bit that they got him to do in the lead up to, you know, John Hurt being the War Doctor was very good. Yes, the Mighty Challenge. I believe the big thing with the breaks that they have semi-regularly in this new series. Like, remember the year with there was no series. There was just like a couple of specials spread out over the year. What's that? Did you know you can link Doctor Who Transformers? Well, you can't really, Cliffjumper. I can see that you're gonna try, but Transformers is an absolute shite thing designed just to sell toys. But anyway, by all means, you can do your linking theory. I'm sure that's something that someone else has posited. But it's just something to think about Transformers. And again, personal taste is personal taste. If you like Transformers, that's fine. I just think Transformers is fucking shit. Is nothing but a cheap attempt to sell toys. That is the sole reason Transformers exist. Everything else is window dressing. Transformers has one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to sell toys. Fantastic Four, Iron Man, Doctor Who. Yes, that's not canon though, is it, Cliff Jumper? Well, Ruku-san, no, it's not different from other 80s cartoons in that thing, but you don't get people acting the same way about other 80s cartoons. Like, when people bemoaning, like, that Transformers movie isn't very good. Well, how the fuck is it going to be good? The central premise is fucking moronic. The premise of Transformers is fucking moronic. Even the 6 to 10-year-olds it is aimed at can look at it and go, it's kind of dumb, but I like having a truck that turns into a robot. But the premise of Transformers is brain-shittingly stupid. Like, it's fucking moronic. So I don't have a lot of time for it. Yeah, well, Ninja Turtles, honestly, not quite as shameless as Transformers. Yes, Ninja Turtles was meant to sell toys and whatnot, but really not as shameless as Transformers. I like that shelf warmer. Shelf warmer means toys that don't sell well. It's like the Prospector in Toy Story. Now, there's a good movie. The Toy Story movies. There's good movies. I had some of those Marvel Doctor Who comics that they did back in the 80s. Like, they had Tom Baker as... I know there's a whole bunch of Doctor Who comics that are published now that are maybe better than those ones, but there are too many comics published in the world, so I can't get them all. I only read a couple of comic titles. Although every now and then, because the libraries here in Melbourne sometimes have some very good graphic novels on the shelf, so I will occasionally borrow things there. Like, I finally finished Transmetropolitan this year. I own the first 5 or 6 trade paperbacks, but there's another like 4 that I didn't have and I never got around to reading, and I just noticed that the library had them all, so I worked my way through them. So I finally know what happened to Spider Jerusalem and how Transmetropolitan ended, so I felt good about that. If you want to get into comics, something that's written by Warren Ellis is usually going to be interesting. He's a super weird dude, super weird, and writes some very gratuitously profane comics in a good way. Some very good thought-provoking comics as well. And but yes, Warren Ellis's name as a writer is usually a guarantee of quality. Yeah, right, Bjori, his stuff become relevant. And I also agree with you, Ruku-san, a TV series adaptation of Transmetropolitan would be freaking awesome. And they could also milk it for 10 years. It would easily take 10 years to do the whole story. Warren Ellis does some mainstream stuff. Like, he will do stuff for Marvel and DC, and he'll do indie stuff as well. He's done a few... I've seen some quite different ones. Yes, not the guitarist from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds. He often has to say that. And the guitarist from Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds often has to say, no, I don't do comics. Warren Ellis has done a few on the theme, like, you know, because in superhero comics, a big thing is suspension of disbelief. You just got to go, oh yeah, there are superheroes here off doing super things. Okay, that's not very likely, but we'll suspend disbelief for the story. But he's done a few that really are variations on a theme of, seriously, if the superheroes, they may as well be gods compared to normal people, but probably with all the failings that a human has, but with these godlike powers. Like, seriously, what would the world really be like? You know, these people would probably misbehave. What would it be like with these superheroes that didn't behave in super nice ways? And he's done quite a few that explore that in different ways. Some dark and some less dark. Hey you, Initiator. But yeah, no, he's a good writer. I think I've said before, Ed Brubaker. If you see stuff by Ed Brubaker, particularly the team ups with artist Sean Phillips. Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips do great work. There's Injustice. See, I don't read all the comics, so I don't know what is Injustice, that alternate reality one where Superman's an asshole? Ugh, yeah. Cliff Jumper, the people complaining about female Doctor Who are just pathetic. Injustice is one where Superman's an asshole. Yeah. And that's obviously something they hinted at in Batman v Superman as well. Everything's basically Batman's fault. Well, there's a big question about Missy and the Master. Didn't the Master say something about the way he killed Missy would stop her regenerating? I don't know if that's just me. But obviously, if he just killed an incarnation of himself, regeneration would happen. I haven't rewatched the most recent series. I always do that. I like record them on the DVR, and then when the series is over, go back and watch them again, and often pick up stuff that went straight past me first thing around. Initiator, no, we didn't see that, but Missy actually said when she stabbed him that it was fatal, but it was going to be slowly fatal. Wait a second, what have we got here? Phil and Sealer. Movie franchises and trilogies. Is trilogy considered the greatest? Makes a fourth more movie. My goodness, that's one of the big questions, isn't it? If a movie was originally done as a trilogy, and some years down the line there's another one, well, it depends. Is the fourth a direct, like the day after the trilogy? Like, okay, Star Wars is a series of trilogies. So there's still trilogies, even though there's other Star Wars movies. You want something that's not as fucked as Sonic sunglasses. I agree, I was never on board with Sonic sunglasses. Hero Jahatma. I think I need a tissue. I've got to run off the side and get a tissue before it gets gross and snotty on camera. You know, I'm just here, I'm not far away. I'm just getting gross and snotty. Okay, that is gross. Okay, yeah. Yep, I really needed to do that. Okay. I'm back. That's a bit better. I was just thinking like, man, maybe I have to have a leak. I could take you with me. That'd be an experience because I'm going off Wi-Fi. Yeah, initiated the doctor being blind. Oh, you can see the silhouette of me. Of course you could. There's a reflection of the light. Yeah. Yeah, Shelf Warner. That's a good point. We're talking about, does an extra film kill a trilogy? The extra Indiana Jones movie was fucking terrible. Cliff Jumper, worried about YouTube changing? Newbie, all YouTube has ever done is change and confuse the people on it. Ruki saying, it didn't kill the trilogy. Well, I'd actually throw it out that the Indiana Jones sequels were kind of shit, honestly. Raiders of the Lost Ark was good. The drop-off in quality after the first one is pretty fucking huge. Initiated, want to watch... We were having that conversation about classic Doctor Who. I was like in a JB Hi-Fi the other day, and they had the classic ones on special, buy one get one free type thing, and I was really going to do that because I actually wanted to get the power of the Daleks, the things they just released as an animated thing, because they lost the original video of the power of the Daleks, but they had the audio, so they did an animated version of it, and I haven't seen that yet. And I'm quite intrigued to see it, so I may actually get that at some point. Because I don't really know Patrick Troughton. I've seen little bits of Patrick Troughton, but yeah, I know you're going to go and be back. Okay. But what other ones have there been? Okay, Indiana Jones was a trilogy that existed for a long time, and then there was a decades later cash-in that was really not good. What other ones have done that? Sure, for me, you're right. The third Indiana Jones is a father-son movie, but God, you know what I noticed last time I watched it? Like Raiders of the Lost Ark was on, which I love. But I was watching it and going, and these are people saying, like, you're just being politically correct, but Indiana Jones is a fucking thief. He's a fucking thief. And it was like, wait, those people, the angry natives throwing spears at you, it's because you're fucking stealing from them. You're stealing from them. And it's like, you're not a good guy. You're like, that's not good, Indy. You're breaking into a people's holiest temple and stealing stuff from the shrine. That's not cool. You're not cool. That's really bad, you cultural imperialist piece of shit. But when you look at it and think, my God, he's just stealing from these people, but he's the hero because he's the white guy going in there doing it. It's like, fucking hell. How about you just leave it there? How about you let the people have this? It's not even like plundering a pyramid where the culture behind it's been dead for 2,000 years. The people are like, there. No, you're stealing from them. It's absolutely surreal when you realize how bad that is. Dude, what's Shrek 3? I don't know I think I've seen Shrek 3, and there's a fourth one too, isn't there? Oh yeah, Piz Coral. Yes, David Bradley does a good first Doctor. Very much looking forward to seeing him. Oh no, Shuffle, we said the Peter Cushing ones. I've got them on disc. I think they're quite good. Yeah, the Daleks and the Dalek Invasion of Earth. Spider-Man got screwed over by saying, I don't know, the new Spider-Man movie's quite good. Although that means it's a Marvel film, not a Sony film. Sony finally agreed to let Marvel do it. Oh my God, I don't know if anyone saw it. There's this really funny video doing the rounds. I don't know what film premiere it was from, but Mark Ruffalo and the guy who is War Machine. Oh God, my brain's gone blank. What's his name again? He's really good. I'm just seeing all the movies he's been in, and I'm trying to see his name on the poster or in the credits. Thank you, Don Cheadle. What the fuck is wrong with my brain, quite honestly? But yeah, Don Cheadle and Mark Ruffalo are at some film premiere. They're being interviewed, and the interviewer says to Mark Ruffalo, would you like to do a standalone Hulk movie? And Mark Ruffalo says, okay, a standalone Hulk movie's not gonna happen because another company owns the rights to standalone Hulk movies and they don't get on well with Marvel. Like, I'm contracted to be Hulk for Marvel, and Marvel don't have the rights to do standalone Hulk movies, so there won't be a standalone Hulk movie. And Don Cheadle leans in and goes, also, you're just not very good. You couldn't carry a whole movie. So that's the other reason it won't happen. And Mark Ruffalo's just laughing and saying like, but it's okay, you know, we've got the stuff lined up. I think I've got a couple more years in me playing Hulk, and you know, then I'll finish up. And Don Cheadle leads in and goes, really, you think you're not already past it? You're not just, you know, embarrassing yourself now? And you just see like Mark Ruffalo's going, I'm not going to break you, you're not going to get to me. And Don Cheadle just keeps leaning in, taking the piss out of him. It's really good. A Grey Hulk's Stellan. Well, Shelf Warmer, that's really interesting because Marvel have specifically been doing different things in comics in the last 10 years or so to get around rights they signed away. Like Marvel don't really have the rights to X-Men, so they came up with next generation stuff in the hope that hopefully we can turn these guys into movies, because we're sick of fucking all these fights because we sold all the rights to X-Men and whatnot. And so Marvel have been specifically generating franchise characters in the comics that they hope to turn into movies down the track, because this incarnation of Avengers is obviously going to last through to this Infinity War arc. So, well, you're saying a hermaphrodite doctor, they gave Capaldi that line that gender doesn't even matter to Time Lords. You know, they're thousands of years ahead of humans. They don't give a shit about stupid ideas about gender and stereotypes and whatnot. So it's actually only people on the outside who place these roles on them, that Gallifreyans themselves don't. Oh my God, you're talking about Marvel and the big events. You mean in the comic releases? See, again, I don't buy Marvel comics, so I don't know, but I've seen some very interesting things written online about how Marvel is fucking over comics fans, trying to rope people into buying 10 different titles to get the whole story and whatnot, and people are getting sick of it. So I empathize. If that's what you meant, then I empathize completely. But it's not to say superhero and mutant comics can't be good, because they can be. I'm just not into them. Like I will, okay, like I said, I talk about reading ones from the library. I will occasionally read them there. You're saying your higher ups at Marvel's a Trumpist. That's a good thing. Lobo is probably, you're right, Roxanne. Lobo's probably waiting for begging for a crossover. Oh my God, speaking of crossovers, in the 80s and 90s, I was into 2000 AD, the comic that has Judge Dredd in it. And in the 90s, they started doing all these crossovers with DC characters. There were a whole bunch of Batman ones, Judge Dredd and Batman. They live in alternate dimensions, but in Judge Dredd's world, there's interdimensional transport devices. And so there's Judge Dredd Batman crossovers, and there's a Judge Dredd Lobo crossover as well. So, sorry, what was that? What goes on in Australian politics? You mean seceded, not succeeded, Jatma. One could argue Queensland doesn't succeed at a lot that matters. Yes, Initiator, you're right. That whole thing with trying to make you buy a whole bunch of comics is not good. Yeah, Cliff Jumper, you're absolutely right. The Dredd comic, the Stallone Dredd, would have been better if he kept the helmet on. That was quite stupid that they did that. And okay, here's the thing that bugged me as an old Judge Dredd groupie. The movie, it stretched out the Rico story, Judge Dredd's clone twin, to the whole length of the movie. And that was a one shot. That was like takes 5 minutes to read story in the comic. And the Angel Gang, which was a huge story arc, they crushed into 5 minutes in the movie. Who the fuck made that decision? That's so stupid. It's like, here's a tiny little self-contained story. Let's drag it out and try and flesh it out to film. Oh look, and here's some characters that were huge and had this whole huge story arc. Let's just crush them into 5 minutes of the movie. That made no sense at all. Are you able to talk about Homecoming? Oh, dude, that's only just come out. Like, that's only just come out last week. I don't really want to start putting spoilers in something that only just came out a week ago. That's a little bit mean. Not everyone can get to the movie straight away. See, that's the thing. ABC Warriors, but that should be filmed. Filmformer, 2000 AD have so many properties that should be films, and I don't know why they find it so hard to do. ABC Warriors, Rogue Trooper, Strontium Dog, you know, Halo Jones, and those are just the classics. Like, I stopped reading it 20 years ago, but they've had all these epic stories in the last 20 years too. And all they've managed is one kind of crap Judge Dredd movie and one good Judge Dredd movie. I am the law. It was slightly disappointing in the Carl Urban thing. He did say I'm the law thing, but it wasn't a big line. Like, he's just saying over the intercom in the tower block, like, Mama's not the law, I'm the law. That was a little disappointing, but that's seriously the only thing in it that was disappointing. It was a fucking great movie. You're right, now that a TV series has been optioned, it could be very, very good. So, oh man, like, I was a hardcore Judge Dredd fan, and Carl Urban was so good as Dredd, and the Anderson in that was really good as well. Actually having a male-female pair-up in an action film with no sexual tension at all. It was fucking awesome. It was like, guess what? Professionals don't have to have sexual tension. You know, they had enough other tension without sexual tension. Like, that's like the lamest Hollywood thing, that male and female protagonists have to have sexual tension. And it's just not there at all with Dredd and Anderson. That was so good. It's got, like, in Mad Max Fury Road, no sort of sexual tension at all between Max and Furiosa. It was just, you know, a really pragmatic partnership. You gotta go, Celtic King. Bye. Thanks for dropping by. I got nothing against sexual tension. I got nothing against sex scenes in movies. Oh, Initiator Fury Road is a fucking legendary film. It's absolutely legendary. It's really good. What am I drinking? I'm actually just drinking Pepsi tonight, and I'm out, so I need some more ice. So we'll go over here and get some. Get some. Get some. But I don't like Pepsi Blue. It's only a Tuesday night, man. I know, and I know I have had an alcoholic beverage on Tuesday night live streams before. Just taking it easy tonight. Another slice of lime, fresh lemon juice. A squirt of fresh lemon juice in Pepsi Max is freaking awesome. No, I in the deep dark past, I used to drink Jolt Cola. Has like twice as much caffeine as most cola, and it was all sugar. Then I did actually successfully lose quite a lot of weight then, but I realized if I was going to lose any weight, I couldn't be drinking a sugar drink. So I started drinking Pepsi Max because it had the most caffeine of the sugar-free Pepsis. And I acquired a taste for it. This is what I drink now. I've never heard of Coke Black. I don't know what that is. Sounds racist though. I'm just saying. Black tea, that's a good thing to drink. Joe, it's absolutely an acquired taste because I was drinking a really, really sugary drink. And I made the conscious decision to drink a sugar-free one. It was an acquired taste because they have a really definite chemically taste about it. But now I really like it. It's funny because I remember in one workplace, because of drinking it at work, the guy's saying like, oh, you know, is it the same as Diet Coke? And I went, no, it tastes totally different. And they didn't really believe me. This thing, oh, no, the different. I said, no, it tastes totally different. I can easily tell the difference. And so they were doing this blind testing. I had like a Diet Coke and Pepsi Max. I had to turn my back and they'd pour them into some cups and shuffle around and then go, you know, had to taste one, then the other. And I got it right every time. And it's not difficult. It's going, that's Diet Coke, that's Pepsi. And then one time, I turned around and I tasted them both and I just looked at them and I said, did you put Diet Coke in both of them? And they just looked at me like I was a witch because I could tell that neither of them were Pepsi Max. And we'd not agreed to that. So that was a bit of subterfuge on their part. But the fact that I could tell that both of them were Diet Coke, even though that wasn't one of the parameters we agreed to, they treated me like I was a witch just because I could tell the difference. Yeah, see, that's the thing, Joe. The taste difference is obvious, but these guys didn't drink it, so they thought, oh, don't the Diet Cokes all taste the same? No, they don't. It's actually quite easy to tell the difference between them. Vanilla is good, I agree. And I've got some of the vanilla Pepsi Max, which I really like. But because I got some lemons off a friend and I got fresh lemon juice, that's kind of wasted in the vanilla one because it's already flavored with vanilla. So straight Pepsi Max with fresh lemon juice is really good. I really like it, very refreshing. And that's what I'm drinking now. So, yes, that's my drinking habits. Oh yeah, Jahamit, that I agree with you. It's a super fake flavor. It's as much like vanilla as the banana lollies are banana. It is. It's a lolly flavor. It's not like a real vanilla flavor. And because I've done that as well, like I put all sorts of additives in my Pepsi Max. I use real vanilla extract, which is quite nice, and various sorts of bitters. Like I think there's the traditional Angostura bitters up there. That's nice in cola. I like that in cola. But you can get, these days, you can get all these exotic bitters, fruit and herb bitters and whatnot. And I like that in drinks as well. But you know, when it's already vanilla flavored, you don't need anything else. And like I said, this one I've got lemon juice for. Yeah, no, Joe, I'm a huge fan. If you find a specialty bottle shop, they'll probably have different flavored bitters. It's really worth experimenting. Try Spaletta cream soda. I've never heard of that one. Oh, Initiator. Why does Coke keep changing sugarless Coke? Well, because it's all marketing. Get fit chased. Look, seriously, Joe Will, I do that a little bit. So, but they've still got Diet Coke. See, they invented Coke Zero because, okay, they got Diet Coke and they cornered the diet market, and all the marketing was to women, and they cornered that market. Like there was Diet Pepsi, but no one bought it. But Pepsi brought out Pepsi Max and marketed it to young men really successfully. They did all this extreme sports marketing and whatnot. And Coke realized they'd done their marketing with Diet Coke too well, and it was seen as a girl's drink, and Pepsi Max was the boys' drink, and they had like zero penetration into men with sugar-free Coke. So they invented Coke Zero. Coke Zero even tastes much more like Pepsi Max than Diet Coke does. And I thought it had been successful. But apparently not, because they're getting rid of Coke Zero now and calling Coke sugar-free. I don't know what they're doing, but yes. Was Pepsi king of the 80s? No, Jatmo, Coke's always had a bigger share of the market than Pepsi. But Pepsi started to make inroads against them in the 80s, and that panicked the Coke people, and that's why they changed the Coke formula. There was new Coke, because they were still ahead of Pepsi, but they were going back, and Pepsi was going forward, and they thought, we can't wait until Pepsi takes over, we have to do something different, and they came up with new Coke. It's a new formula, and people emotionally hated it. It was awful, and there was this big furor, and the sales of new Coke tanked, and but then they brought back classic Coke, and classic Coke sales were like heaps higher than they had been before, which has led particularly conspiracy-minded people to say, oh, it was all a scam, they were always going to do that, take it away and then bring it back. No, they made a very big mistake is what happened. Yes, the Cola Wars. That's exactly what it was about, Shahatma. We called it the Cola Wars. I don't know if we have a Remembrance Day for the Cola Wars. You're right, Pepsi, sorry, Cliff Jumper. That was an effective campaign Pepsi had with blind taste testing. But Coke still has far more of the market than Pepsi does. But you know, a Remembrance Day for the Coke Wars. The brave veterans of the Coke Wars. Where's their march? Where's their parade? Where's their statues? Okay? Why do we neglect the veterans of the Coke Wars? They were probably that in more ways than one. The marketing people were probably massive cocaine freaks. But oh yes, console wars. But the console wars are still going on now. So Pepsi got sued for saying you could win a Harrier jump jet. No, I do not remember that. Oh, the Emu War, that's the big one with the veterans. You know, how good's Australia? We went to war with emus, and the emus won. It's like, if you tell people that and they think it's a joke, and it's like, no, it was a real thing that happened. In Western Australia, they decided they had a plague of emus and actually set the military onto them, and the military had no luck at all trying to kill emus. If someone wants to come in, what are you doing? What are you trying to get?
A cup of tea.
Oh yeah, well you only have to be on, you don't want to be on camera, you only want to be on that side making a cup of tea. Sorry, it's because I'm in the kitchen. Oh, it's Star Trek break time. There are snacks being microwaved, cups of tea being made.
Melted chocolate.
Ah yes, chocolate being melted in the microwave. There you go. Okay, there's a real background noise of the microwave and a kettle, but that's okay. Yeah, the Wikipedia entries on the Emu War are quite good. It's just like the first attempt to shoot emus was an awful failure. The second one was almost as bad. The third time they did kill a few emus, but the entire affair was so stupid. Well, I'm not getting any chocolate. I don't see why you guys get chocolate when I don't get any. Oh, this is the new, more well-behaved me, by the way. I'm setting up Turn the Life Around. I'll be making videos of this whole process of doing. If you were seeing videos where I do the tapping thing, and you do this and this and this and turning my life around, and I'm having very interesting progress because I would find myself snacking all the time, and you can actually. I've done the tapping on. I have hardly had any snacks. I've had meals, like I make my breakfast, sandwich, a lunch and dinner, and I haven't been eating snacks at all. And so this is also, yeah, part of this is weight loss. But like I talked about this live, one of the live videos I talked about my secret project, and I've been videoing it, and you know, I've really only just finished the first week of it. And the weight's moving in the right direction, but I want that to be consistent for about 4 weeks till I'm gonna feel sure that it's definitely doing it. I know, giving up snacks. Seriously, my weight has fluctuated a hideous amount on YouTube, like 20 kilograms. I've got to lose it all. I've put it all on from when I first started YouTube to now, because I'm a lazy fat bastard. Eating like a hobbit, does that mean breakfast, second breakfast, morning tea, 11's, lunch, afternoon tea, all that sort of thing? Is that the hobbit eating you're talking about? Running 5 to 10K, wow. That's really good. Yeah, and helping with anxiety, excellent. Oh, I'm glad I'm your lazy fat bastard, but I'm also not young, and so just to fucking preserve my health and maybe live for another year or two, I really do need to lose weight. But the whole tapping thing is the whole strategy to turn the life around, and I'm gonna change a whole bunch of things. In fact, one of the ones I'm going to do is just depending on my mindset, how to not fucking freak out at people quite so quickly. Like, although it's a much abused term by sad bastards, how to basically not be triggered as quickly. Like, because people can, whether it's comments on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, the right sequence of words will make me go, "Ah, fuck you!" And I would like to not be quite so overpowered by the urge to say to people, "Oh, fuck off, you fucking piece of shit," because I make mistakes. I do make mistakes. Someone just makes the misfortune of putting a particular sequence of words in a sentence. It's like, ah! And I would like to not react quite so badly. So, I'm still going to unload on people who deserve it. Yes, your microwave beeped. But what's in the mystery vial there?
Orange flavouring.
Oh, okay, you've got some flavouring here. God, it's pretty bloody exotic going on here. TPG did that to you, talking about them being... Yeah, well, Telstra did that to me a couple of weeks ago when they cut off my service and wouldn't tell me why. So it's like, ah. I think I stayed patient for a week, and then when I actually found out what the problem was, no one at Telstra found it out. I worked out what the problem was. I'm just on Twitter going, "Fuck you, Telstra, you fucking fucks. Fuck you in the fucking neck, you fucking pricks." It was like... Jesus, it's just like, my God, why didn't one of you dickheads work out what was wrong on the first day? Why did it take more than a week? And it was me who worked it out, not you, you fucking fucks. Hey there, Megaleech, how's it going? TPG got angry at you for torrenting porn. Okay, that's unfortunate. Oh, well. Yeah. I mean, back off, TPG. What's your problem? I think we said that in the previous one. That was, it was dudes thing. So you had to have that conversation with your parents. Oh my God, that's one of the advice things AIDSy and I did. A younger viewer saying, so, my parents found my yaoi porn on my computer. How do I explain that to them? And I'm like, very carefully. Very, very, very carefully. Because if you're not aware of the culture, that's fairly confronting. But, yeah. Yes. The porn conversation with parents is pretty awkward. So, yes, for the parents as much as the kids, quite honestly. So, spare a thought for the parents in that situation as well. But yes, so we've gone the whole gamut from Doctor Who to internet porn, which is fairly predictable. Oh my God, I think I've told this story before too, but I saw this really funny thing on one of the British chat shows. They had David Tennant on it, and while he was still the Doctor, and one of the hosts was particularly camp, and he's talking to Dave Tennant and says, so what do you think of Dr. Jack / fiction? And Tennant goes, what are you talking about? And he goes, no, it's on the internet, the erotic stories about the Doctor and Captain Jack. And Tennant goes, I had no idea anything like that existed. And the host is just like, oh my God, really? Really? You don't actually know? Oh my God, I'm running out and getting... And he runs out and gets a laptop and finds some Dr. Jack / fic and starts... and they actually got Tennant to read it on stage. Yeah, it was not particularly graphic, but it's just about, pulling him close, feeling his breath on his cheek. And the Doctor and Jack smooching, and he read this page of it, and the audience is laughing, and they were laughing, and he stops, and Tennant looks up and goes, yeah, but this is just Barrowman's blog. It's just like... And he just came up with that line. That was really good. Because seriously, how cool's John Barrowman, actually? I love him. I reckon he's great. Yes, Rule 34 is Rule 34. It is a rule. There's no two ways about it. It's absolutely unavoidable. So, and you just know, if you ever go and go, well, there's this character, no one's done any porn with that, someone on the internet will hear you, and the day after that, there'll be a Tumblr full of porn about that character. Ruku-san, dubstep remix, you're living in the past, man. You're living in the past. What's that about? I will admit to liking dubstep, actually, as embarrassing as that is. And I mean the really commercial stuff. Yeah, I've got no shame. I'll admit it. What are you going to do about it? You can't take away my music collection. Wub, 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 wub. Oh, yes, Megaleech, I did actually see that you'd sent me that message. That was about going on PlayStation 4 or something, wasn't it? Which is something I don't actually do. The trouble with most porn, unlimited experience, seems to abusive. Joe, look, there is Steam. That's it. You were saying Steam. I knew it's something about gaming. And while I have gotten stuff off Steam, I'm not playing games at all at the moment. Joe, you do raise a good point. An enormous amount of porn is abusive to women. But, human sexuality is a weird thing. And you do get stuff made by women or where women are in control of production. And of course, it's not getting around like people go like, oh, look, that sort of, you know, sadomasochistic video is, you know, exploitative. People are just into that. You know, the idea of a dominant and submissive partnership is a real thing. You know, people are into that. So, Joel, you don't get the choking. You see, people are different. Initiator, a good way to get rid of DVD CDs. If you're trying to sell them, I'm not sure. Because like if you try and sell them on Gumtree, you get weirdos coming around to your house. If you just want to give them away, if they're decent movies, the average Goodwill store will take them because they can make a couple bucks off them. If they don't have to pay for them, they can make a decent coin off them. But yeah, I don't know, you could have a garage sale. You know, people swamp. If you've got stuff besides the DVDs and CDs, you could maybe have a garage sale. Do the Atari method, put them in landfill in New Mexico. That's like one of the great legends of early gaming, the ET games that got buried. Sorry, what was that? Joe, some people like something in a dick like a storm in a teacup. Passionately kiss because they think it's awkward and lame. Oh, there you go. CX Entertainment Exchange. Melbourne based. There you go. See, this is where you ask on the internet, because you ask and people will find. People will answer. Ask and ye shall receive, as the old saying goes. See, I know my Bible. That's a biblical saying. I went to Catholic school. I know these things. Yes, Shahatma, everyone here's friends because I kick out the unfriendly people, which I haven't had to do much lately. Oh, dude, you're recovering for life from that sort of thing. Oh yeah, Shelfwarmer, that was the really weird story when they actually did dig up the buried ET games and people wanted to buy them. Shabby, you think you're close to getting kicked out. David Hill, hello to you. Quality shop if they had vinyl collection that includes South Pacific, Sound of Music and New Kids on the Block. Wow. That's okay, Heine, you can lurk. It's perfectly acceptable. If I was ever like moving overseas, then I would probably, I'd definitely sell my DVDs and Blu-rays. I might try and store my vinyl somewhere, or I might sell. But I mean, like, I've got hundreds. Like, I'd seriously, if I had a garage sale, I'd probably be selling them for like $1 or $2. David Hill, you've missed like almost 90 minutes, dude. But you know. Oh, Nana Muscuri and Kamal. There's a man who remembers the 70s. Look, Japma, talking about playing records on a live stream, I would love to do that. I would love to play DJ and play a bunch of music in a live stream, but I can't. Copyright precludes me. YouTube's content match is running the whole time on live stream, and if I start playing music, content match will pick it up and I'll get cut off. So that really sucks, because I would love to do live streams where I played DJ, but because of feisty record companies, we can't. And it bugs me when people blame YouTube for that. YouTube, you know, are constantly being threatened with lawsuits. They have to work really hard just to stay afloat, and they have limited protections under the American Digital Millennium Copyright Act, and one of the protections is if they get a takedown notice, they have to take down. You can lodge a counterclaim, but YouTube has to protect themselves, and so they have to take a fairly hard line with copyright issues. And look, there are grounds for the record companies to argue certain things. It's just, you know, we're not you know, friends sitting in the lounge room playing records to each other. It's streaming across the internet, even though it would be really low quality and you're not really ripping off. And, you know, I might be exposing people to different music that they wouldn't have otherwise found. But look, I understand it's just too complicated, which sucks because I would really enjoy doing that. I'm now torn between having another drink and going to the loo. Maybe doing both. Shahatma with the old Boney M. Love it. Yeah, Ruki-san, you're right. I'm a believer in copyright, and I think YouTube does the best they can to represent the interests of artists and creators, and while thinking of an audience as well. They're trying pretty hard to strike a balance, and they can't make everyone happy. See, Cliffjumper, there you get into an area of people using Creative Commons music. You have to be very, very, very sure when you use something that you think is Creative Commons, that the person who posted it is both the composer and the copyright owner. And yeah, I've had spurious claims at least half a dozen to a dozen times on YouTube. I filed counterclaims and got it back. But often people go, I got this off SoundCloud and they said I could use it. There's a heap of stuff on SoundCloud that breaches copyright. That's stuff done with samples and whatnot. So if you're using something on YouTube that you think is, you know, Creative Commons free with attribution, be very, very sure that the person who uploaded it is actually the composer and is actually the copyright holder. Because here's another fun thing about copyright. The artist who performs something is often not the copyright holder. In fact, it's relatively rare for the artist who records it to actually be the copyright holder. The artist usually signs over publishing rights to a record company, and the record company goes after you on YouTube. So some people go, oh, but I talked to the guy in the band and he said use it. The guy in the band doesn't actually own the copyright to the music. So yeah, copyright gets sold. Like you say, Michael Jackson bought rights to Beatles songs at one point. Copyright gets traded. And there's also, there will be one company that owns the publishing right to the lyrics. So even when you do a cover version, someone owns rights to that. And there'll be someone else who owns the copyright on recordings. So yeah, yes. This is not really all caught up with remix culture, but there's the thing, copyright is really complicated. It gets abused by big companies all the time, but you know, we've got to be aware of it. Well, yes, Ruku-san, anyone can do it. You know, you're a band or just a sole composer, create stuff and release it for people to use. But things change as well. The copyright owner can change over years. That's another thing people don't realize, that you might be doing something legally. I found some sugar. You might be okay for a couple of years, and then years after you posted something, the record company that owns it suddenly decides they're on the warpath with YouTube. You get takedown notices and copyright breaches for stuff that's been up for years. So like I'm an admin in a Facebook group for YouTubers, and the copyright question comes up all the time. I go, the shortest answer when people say, oh, can I use this? Can I use that? Is go, as soon as you use some copyrighted material that you don't have explicit rights to, you lose control over what happens next. It's no longer your decision at that point. Now, what happens next might be nothing. Seriously, just might be nothing. You might be ignored. You might never have any repercussions. It might be fine. The They might mute the sound. That happens on YouTube. They might monetize it so they make any money off it and you can't. They might demand you take the video down. They might force a copyright strike on you. They might force your channel to be shut down. Thing is, as soon as you do something that you don't own the copyright to, you've got no control over what happens next. So it's very risky. And you are absolutely right, Joe Will, when they start doing retrospective stuff, that's some serious bullshit. But they do it. So we're going 90 minutes. I both do need another drink and I do need to take a slash. And as tempting as it is, I'm not going to take you in there with me. I'm just trying to find something fun to point the camera at. It's like a bowl of mandarins. That's not very interesting, is it? You just look at my booze collection. That's not all booze. Oh, actually, that's homemade wine that like Mrs. Angry made, I think like decades ago. And it's probably fermented into God knows what. I keep threatening to do taste tests of it, but I'm kind of scared. Maybe I should do that on a live stream. I should, shouldn't I? I should do a live stream where I taste this decades old homemade wine. Yeah, see, now you're listening, Karen. This is all, no, this is boxes. This is dozens of bottles of homemade wine. And it's been there for, oh my God, I don't know, decades. So I will, maybe even this weekend. I might do it this weekend. But look, so look in wonder at my drinks while I go to loo. I'll be very quick. Arrgh. Okay, what terrible things did you do while I was away? It's like bugger, like I've caught you all doing something. You did Yeah, I actually left the doors open. No, it's like, you think this is bad. It's like the running joke at YouTube meetups is if you leave your camera on the table, like you go off to the loo and leave your camera on a table around other YouTubers, you're just asking to find something weird on your camera afterwards. We did nothing, Switz nervously. So yes, I was actually tempted to take you in with me, but I thought maybe that would be going too far, so I didn't. Oh well, that's a relief, let me tell you. Plop, plop, fizz, fizz, fast, fast. Oh, what a relief. Okay, weird thought processes that go through my head. You ever see those stupid fucking... Well, people don't think they're stupid. People think they're being insightful. They'll show a picture of Frank Sinatra and a picture of Justin Bieber and go, man, what happened? The world fucking changed. That's what happened. And people like suggest that Sinatra is somehow of more integrity than Justin Bieber. Okay, Sinatra was a very good performer. but he didn't write his own songs, he didn't write his own music, he didn't play his own music. Bieber, while he has lots of help like every performer does, he's a multi-instrumentalist. He can sing, he can perform. Sinatra is a fucking sellout. Sinatra would do the most appalling shit for money. That whole crowd, I mean, seriously, Sammy Davis Jr. did an album that was paid for by Alka-Seltzer, where he sang shitty, cheesy songs like Candyman, and also songs about Alka-Seltzer. And it's like, they were all sellouts, okay? And while I don't like Justin Bieber as a person, and I don't like Justin Bieber's music, he's a multi-instrumentalist. He worked a fair bit to get where he is, and it's absolutely ridiculous to say Sinatra had some sort of integrity that Bieber doesn't. Sinatra had no more integrity than Bieber, arguably considerably less. But that sort of stuff shits me. People acting like they're insightful and they're just saying try it. We'll always see these people going, well, I've never watched an episode of Game of Thrones. That's fine, but it doesn't make you special. Like, whether you're picking on Game of Thrones or Doctor Who or The Walking Dead, a show that's popular or well regarded, or integrity saying, well, I've never watched it, I'm very special. You're not special. And not liking those shows is perfectly okay. It's a question of personal taste. Not everyone likes the same thing, no matter how good someone else thinks it is. You know, whether it's good from a critical acclaim point of view, like Breaking Bad, or whether it's just got a big audience. Like, okay, Big Bang Theory is shit as far as I'm concerned, but if you like it, that's fine. And I'm not saying like I'm on some higher plane because I don't like it. It is a statement that I don't like it. But it's like, when people say, I've never watched Game of Thrones, like that makes them special. It doesn't make you special. Oh God, that's harsh, Dottie. You haven't watched Game of Thrones, you're not special, you're just poor. Well, look, musical elevator. Your mum worried about Game of Thrones dragging you straight to hell. She's absolutely right, clearly. That's an obvious risk with that. But yeah, I see this stuff. Okay, now here's a question. What is it about Facebook that makes perfectly good people turn into weird, needy, self-obsessed shit? Like some of my good friends, and I'm sure I've done it too, my good friends will post this like, oh, okay, I'm going to post this on my wall and see who likes it. Only a true, you'll know your true friends because they'll like it and share it. It's like, get fucked, okay? Do not post anything telling me what I have to do in response, because that gets right up my fucking nose. But okay, you see someone and you see, okay, they're kind of a dickhead and I don't like them very much anyway, and they're doing that dickhead thing, so that's fine. But when people fucking who aren't complete idiots do it, it's like all those stupid fucking quizzes on Facebook, right, that are such obvious clickbait, like, can you get 10 out of 15 on this quiz? Only a genius can. And people post it with, I got 15 out of 15. I'm awesome. Of course, because the quiz was actually fucking easy. That thing about only a genius can do it is fucking clickbait to appeal to your fucking vanity, and you fucking fell for it. And now you're inflicting it on the rest. For fuck's sake, that is so obvious. That is such an obvious appeal to your vanity. Why the fuck do you fall for it? Now, I often do those quizzes just to check it is bullshit and easy to do, but I never post them afterwards. It's like, only a genius can get 10 out of 15. I do it, okay, I got 15 out of 15. Fine, no, it's another one of these ones that's just bullshit. And I'm not doing it. I'm not sharing it because fuck you and your clickbait fuckery. But there is something about Facebook that makes people switch off their fucking brains. People just do the worst stuff on Facebook. It's just like, why? Why did your cognitive abilities collapse like that? was like, you're not a stupid person. Why are you sucked in by this? Oh my God. And like, that's done with this big asterisk, huge disclaimer. I'm sure I've done it too. I think Facebook just does something to you. I don't know what no other social platform does that to people as much. Facebook really does it. You're right, Shelf Warmer. Horoscopes tell people what they want to know. I still remember a little cartoon or comic from when I was a kid, like in a magazine, one of those single frame things with a newsreader saying, was it? And the practice of astrology got new credibility today when, as predicted, everyone born under the sign of Scorpio was run over by an egg lorry. It's like, yes. See, then I'd believe it. If that, not these vague generalities that they say that people read whatever they want into, but a good hard thing like, well, you know, if you were born on August the 15th, a bird's going to peck your eyes out today. And if that happened to everyone, then that would be it. Writing days, hello. We're hitting the 100-minute mark. Started a bit earlier tonight. Hi Rose, how are you? Yeah, look, I've fallen into it as well. I happen to know I'm an Aries, and I know I'm a horse in the Chinese astrology thing. Was a bit hurt? Jonathan Keener passed away. I don't know who that is, Ruku-san, sorry. Horoscope person. Yes. Yes, they never tell us the lorry numbers or anything useful. Oh my God, there was me, Pat. Good on you. Oh, Big Pat. It is too. I can see your little icon there. How you doing, Pat? Oh wait, no, don't do that. Have I heard about Larissa Waters? I know the name, Rose. What should I know about Larissa Waters? I know the name and I can't really place how I know it. The I was going to say there was this Australian sketch comedy show in the 80s or 90s called Australia, You're Standing in It, and they had this one guy who was God. He is just like a silly man dressed up in a smock with a beard and long hair, going and he in one of the sketches he was in a department store instead of Santa Claus. It was like, instead of get your photo taken with Santa Claus, it was get your photo taken with God. And this woman sits on his lap and says, tell me the lotto numbers. He goes, oh no, it doesn't work like that. And she's going, come on, if you're really good, you'll really tell me. And it doesn't sound funny in telling you, but it was a funny sketch. Why are you sad, Pat? That's not good, are you sad? Oh, Cliffjumper, Larissa Water was the green who had to resign. 2 in a week. That's friggin' awesome. And I had a brief moment of hope when someone pointed out one of the biggest cockheads in Australian politics, Malcolm Roberts, was born in India. But he says he's definitely got his citizenship straight, and he probably has. But it was fun to entertain for a moment that he might get kicked out of the Senate because he had dual citizenship. You know. I know, Musical Ladder. It was so weird that it happened at the same time. Get your photo taken with Morgan Freeman. See, that would work as well. But the best thing about getting your photo taken with God in this sketch they had, like there's the girl at the shopping centre saying like, yeah, okay, get your photo taken with God, and the woman saying, you're not really God, are you? And the girl comes up like, because it's like a Polaroid photo, going, no, look, he's really God. You can tell because he came out blurry in the photo. You did too, but she's like, good. Rose, I don't like who? I don't know. I don't really know anything about Larissa Waters. If you're asking if I didn't like Larissa Waters, I'm not really into the Greens. Okay. Pat, your mum died this year. That is sad. I understand that. I've been through that. That is sad. Well, you know, I hope you start feeling better soon, but that is something that would make you sad. I understand that completely. Oh, yeah, well, there's Cliff Jump with the Brexit thing and Ireland. That is the thing under Irish law, I think, is you only need one parent who was born in Ireland and an Irish citizen, and you qualify for Irish citizenship. So, yes, that is something that could happen. So, you never know. Hope the last generation needs to suffer through death. Well, we've had this conversation too before, but I like is the idea of like, okay, you do get a lot of futurists who talk about not having to die, like, you know, live for, you know, whether it's centuries or, you know, we get uploaded into the matrix, we have the singularity and our consciousness exists forever. I mean, you never know. Wait a sec, the Irish, the first to be colorized by the country who shall not be made. I think you've been colonized. Is it colorized? Oh my God. You're right, Mega Leech. The rich will definitely be the first to benefit. What we are likely to see, whether it's our lifetime or, you know, in 100 years, you are likely to see the very rich living for centuries while the working class still, or possibly even dying younger than they do now. That feels almost inevitable. But you never know, like if the techno-utopia comes true, you know, the end of scarcity, then, you know, who knows what's possible. I want to talk like old school AngryAussie. I'm not altogether sure what that is. Eat the Rich. That was a halfway entertaining British comedy from the 80s, Eat the Rich. Good, good. Pat, you and Rob are coming to the meetup on Saturday. That's what I like. Yeah, I don't know about the whole, you know, rapture of the nerds, the singularity and the post-scarcity future, because it seems like it involves a big chunk of magical thinking. But people way smarter than me, are convinced it's going to happen. So, you know, who knows? See, Shelf Warmer, if your theory is right, that consciousness is literally just the chemical reactions in our brain and information being processed, then of course, uploading to a computer would be a perfect replication of life, because it would still be the thoughts and the things. So, who knows? Rose, Mrs. Angry is good. You must have missed a bit earlier. She came in to make a cup of tea. While I was talking, they were having a break from Star Trek and came in here to get tea and snacks while I was talking, because I'm in the kitchen. It of course raises the interesting thing, even if there was a soul, but, you know, look, the whole thing with the world, we are chemical reactions and our brain processing stimuli. And if you do a good enough, this is where you get into weird metaphysical questions. If you did a good enough simulation in a computer of the same series of receptors and responses, the program wouldn't know it wasn't alive. So is it alive? So, you know, how can you tell? I mean, because human consciousness is so easy to manipulate it. Did Mrs. Angry show her face on camera? No, she was on the other side. I think people saw her silhouette in the reflection back there, but, you know, she's into privacy. Joe Will, our perception is so easily manipulated. Like say, I'm talking about my master plan for losing weight and stopping eating junk and being more positive about things. This is achieved. Look, all I do, and I think, you do a thing where you set by tapping here, you talk about what you're going to do tapping here, and then you tap on these acupressure points here, 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 under the arm, and the top of the head, and it fucking works. And whenever I do it, I tell people, like, look, I don't blame you for being cynical. Definitely, you know, reserve judgment and whatnot. But I'm doing it, and I'm feeling these changes. It changes how I think. I eat things I didn't used to eat, and I don't mean I force myself. Like, I enjoy eating them. Stuff that I never do. That's what I'm working on now, Rose. The weight loss. I've actually only just finished the first week of the process, and I've really been focusing on resisting snacks, and I mean, I lost 1.5 kilos in the first week, but I'm going to have to maintain it for at least 4 weeks before I think it's working. Ruka-san, I agree with you 100%. Sounds like hippie bullpoop. But there are university studies. There's a professor at Bond University in Queensland and a few others around the world that have done tests to show it's not just the placebo effect. It's not just the power of suggestion. You're actually changing the way your brain processes information and memories. Like, I'm using it for really trivial shit about eating, but it's used to treat really quite significant emotional trauma. I do not do meditation, Rose. No, the points, it's acupressure points. So you set by tapping this part of your hand and you do a there are some videos on my channel of me doing it, and there will be more. I'm going to set up a new channel when I've got a bit of a body of stuff, show my progress. So there's this, and then you tap this bit of your eyebrow, the corner of your eye here, under your nose, under your lip here, sort of inside your collarbone here, and under your arm and the top of your head. And you do cycles of that. It's fucking crazy. Oh, Cliff Jumper, the losing the weight thing is just about how I mentally and emotionally respond to things. And it's basically like, because you actually use this phrase, even though I really want to eat that chocolate, I completely accept myself anyway. And it's just surreal how it works. Like, I've used it to reduce stress. I've used it to eat healthy food that I didn't used to eat, like vegetables and stuff. And I've used it to control the urge to eat snacks all the time. And that's worked. Like, for the last 1.5 weeks, I haven't been eating snacks at all. Like, I used to justify because it's just a little biscuit. I'm gonna have an ice cream, just a little one, and I haven't been eating them at all. I've only been eating my meals. It's pretty amazing because I'm the most indulgent person ever. No? But yes, I thoroughly tell people, like, you know, you've got to be a bit cautious about anything like this. Like, you know, like, sounds like some hippie bullcrap to me. You know, you've got, cynical's not the right word. What am I going to say? Skeptical, and not like climate skeptics, as in people who deny reality, but actually just going, no, I'm going to go just be very cautious, not going to accept. You can use it for quitting smoking, Ruka-san. You really can, because that's a mental addiction as much as anything else. Oh my God, I saw this doco on the weekend. It was a slightly more propaganda-ish than a real doco, but it was about chronic pain, and this Dr. Sano in the States, who he predicted 30 years ago there'd be this epidemic of chronic pain in the States, because he said, he talks about the mind-body connections, like, and you know, who hasn't got a thing where you're so stressed it's turned into I feel sick? You might even vomit, you might get diarrhea, or your muscles clamp up, and you know, you'd have to be very closed-minded to say your brain can't create physical problems in your body, like stresses and whatnot can't create physical body problems in your body. I think everyone's experienced that on some level. But this guy goes the whole way, like people who are suffering from chronic pain and whatever, because if you can fix the if there is some physical damage, like cartilage damage or broken bones, if you can fix the physical damage, you can still end up suffering chronic pain. And he does this mind-body thing, teaching you how to get past the chronic pain, and talk about crazy hippie shit. But he's actually got a couple of decades of results to back what he's saying. So it's very interesting. Like, I was trying to watch it with an open mind. And this, documentary did make the mistake of being far too didactic and, is veering into propaganda territory, not being objective, like, most people say a documentary should be. But this doctor had a pretty good, like, several decades of success to back what he was saying. So it's very interesting, the idea of attacking chronic pain by recognizing that your mind's behind it as opposed to an actual physical malady in your body. Very interesting stuff. So, which brings me to the point, I'm going to save all of your lives, because the doco is called All the Rage, because it's pointing out, like, people with suppressed rage, it manifests itself in pain or sickness, and I don't have that. I've got no suppressed rage, because I just fucking scratched myself with my stupid hand gesticulations. It's another thing. Weirdly, I've stopped biting my nails. I didn't focus on that at all. I didn't do any tapping on not biting my nails, and I used to always bite my nails, and I just stopped, and I don't really know why. So I have to remember to trim them, because I used to just bite them right down, like till they were bleeding. I would always do that, bite them down so much that they were bleeding, because I'm an idiot. And I just stopped, and I wasn't even trying to, and I don't really know why. So now I have to remember to scratch them. Look, Ruka-san, you laugh. Maybe that's why you're sick all the time. That's what this guy explicitly says. So it is your stresses that are making you sick or feeling pain. A breatharian who lost 6 kilos in a week of 100% observation. If you don't eat, you lose weight. That's the simple thing. It's just bad if you lose too much. Like, long term, if you're going for long-term weight loss, about a kilo a week is manageable and healthy. Yeah, that's the thing. No, a human can live, a human my size could live for a month without, it would take about a month for me to die from malnutrition, to literally starve to death, because I've got so much extra. But you can live for a while without living. There's a whole survival thing. You can survive a couple of minutes without breathing, a couple of days without water, and a couple of weeks without food. Yeah, water will, you'll start to shut down within a couple of days if you've got no water. So, but that's a good average. Like, you can survive a couple minutes without breathing, a couple days without water, and a couple weeks without food. But I'm not joking. The amount of extra I'm carrying, I would last at least a month. I'm not even joking with that. But it's not healthy. It's not healthy to go a week without eating. You can and will survive and lose weight, but you run quite a risk of damaging your body in a way that's difficult to recover from. Yes, breatharians are fucking idiots. How much do I weigh? That's a personal question. About 50% more than I should. And again, not even exaggerating then. It's about 50% more than I should. So... Okay, that's a nice little phrase you had. I like that. Let the spirit child inside me rise to the call of the kookaburras, hear them bleed as she rides on through her come downs. Oh, there you go. But yes, so my weight loss plan, I've got to lose at least 20 kilos. 30 would be good, but I've got to lose at least 20. So to hit the sort of mark I want to will take about 6 months. So like the kilograms, I'm kilograms, not pounds, kilograms. So the end of the year. Yeah, see, okay, cliff jumper, you weigh less than me and you're way taller than me, okay? So I like it, Jahatma. Don't put down your poetry. If that's your poetry, don't put it down. Okay, now Joe's off to weigh himself. So yeah, look, I'm going to get, you know, I have my life-changing process running at the moment. Been doing it for about a week and a half, and I'm hoping by 4 weeks I can be confident that I'm getting the results that I can show. I don't think I can lose any weight in my head, cliff jumper. I have a stupidly large head, although I've got big cheeks. I lose weight, my face will look thinner, but it will still be just as big. But I don't have to have these big chipmunk cheeks if I lose some weight. Oh no, dude. There's no getting around my stupidly large head. There is just no getting around it. Literally, it's very hard to get around. It's a long walk. Like my hats, like I like hats, and I have to go to a specialty hat shop because no one apart from a specialty hat shop has hats big enough for my fucking head. Like most hat shops stopped at about size 59. I think that's, I don't remember if that's 59 inches or 59 centimeters circumference. And mine's an 84. So, you know, 75, 76 kilos. See, that's what I've got to get down to. No, that might be too low for me. I'd be really skinny if I was that. Shelf warmer, I reckon my head's bigger than Bert Newton's, quite honestly. Old moon face. I think, oh, Rachel's having a wedding and you're best man at Rachel's wedding. That's pretty cool, Pat. I like that. Oh, cliff jumper. We have jokes like if I wear a hat when I'm meeting people and stuff, and yeah, my hat which sits up here, and normal people put it on and it goes sort of ka-tunk. Yeah, oh God, we're coming up to 2 hours. I started a bit early tonight. So I think, yes, I'm not skinny. You know the excuse, I'm big boned. I actually am. I've got like this Celtic Highland build. I'm really stocky. So even when I lose weight, I weigh more than average for my height. Like if I got down to 80 kilograms, I think I'd look really skinny. If I get down to 90, that's good. And I've had trouble getting below 90. But 80 would be great. Yeah, absolutely right, Kazan. The dish Mr. Burns used to block out the sun on The Simpsons was actually one of my hats. Chronic fatigue syndrome, Joe. Okay, I can see why that makes you skinny then. That's a common side effect. And that kind of sucks. Chronic fatigue syndrome is harsh. Not least because you have to convince people it's real. And it is. Got to go, shelf warmer. Thanks for dropping by. It's always good to have people dropping by. All right, yeah. Agoraphobia, yeah. Not feeling unable to get out and about. Yeah, that would affect with food intake. That's tough. Yes. Yeah. So. I did not read your poetry out loud there, Chapman, but I quite enjoyed it as it was going past. So yeah, don't put yourself down on that. That's quite good. My major affliction is being lazy and indulgent. So, yes, I will see Rachel on Saturday, Pat. Looking forward to that too. Yeah, my main affliction is being lazy and indulgent. But the tapping thing, I'm working on the indulgent, so I don't indulge myself quite as much, and then lose some weight and get more active and whatnot, and try and keep it off because I'd like to live longer. You saw his shadow on the wall and you thought it was Alfred Hitchcock. Ooh, that's tough. Dude, I think I've mentioned this before. This is my new house. I've been in here nearly 4 months now, so it's not that new anymore. But my bedroom, the master bedroom, the cupboards have sliding doors on them that are mirrors, so it's floor to ceiling mirrors, one whole wall of the bedroom. So it's really hard to avoid those mirrors. And just earlier tonight, so we have an ensuite. You have to sort of slide the doors apart to go in there. And I was just walking past, looking at myself in the mirror going, oh, you fat motherfucker, look at you. So I've got to be strong. Now, Mega Leech, I swear to God, I am surprised there aren't mirrors on the ceiling, because behind the sliding mirror doors, there's a jacuzzi in the bathroom. It's got this serious 70s swinger vibe about it. So I'm really surprised there aren't mirrors on the ceiling, quite honestly. Reminds me of one of my other houses. It's from years ago. The previous tenant in this house, I think it was the owner of the house, prior to me moving in, there was someone who'd been living there who had fairly advanced multiple sclerosis. And in the lounge room and in one of the bedrooms, they had this hook hanging from the ceiling, and there was a whole little trolley thing they could move around. It was to help the person move around, and it was very heavy duty because they had to take someone's whole weight. So there was this sort of hook hanging from the ceiling that you could move around and go. No, none of my friends would believe me that wasn't a sex thing. Everyone was quite sure that I had a whole BDSM thing going on in my house that was, I was hanging either myself or someone else from the ceiling, which I could have done because it was strong enough to do that, because it was strong enough to support humans' weight. But none of my friends would believe that I didn't have a whole BDSM thing going on. No, seriously. AZ wanted to use it for that. So that was actually pre-Mrs. Angry. This is 15 years ago. We've been together about 12 years. I know, Cliff Jumper, that was the sort of thing I had to do, keep AZ away when he's saying, can I come around and play at your house? But it was just because you don't get that very often, this really heavy duty hook hanging from, and it normally would be for someone's sex swing. That's about, you think that's the only thing people use it for. But it was because the previous tenant had quite severe multiple sclerosis and it helped them get about. But everyone was really sure that I had a sex swing stashed away. I should have got one. But I didn't actually have one. I'm certainly not judging, not averse to it. It just actually wasn't the case, despite what all my friends said. But yes, so that was a weird one. Ooh, an idea for a video for me and AZ. Do tell. As I said earlier, he promised he was sending a video over that I could do some responses to, so we'll see. Oh God, test out the homebrew wine. I'm not sure. He might still be in the he can't drink alcohol phase, so he could just laugh at me while I taste it. I would have to ask him where he is, but I think it's because of his anxiety and some medication he's on. Alcohol might be a very bad idea for him. I would have to ask him because I'm not 100% sure. Gazy gives some stand-up tips because trying to get the Brisbane. Good luck to you, Shahatma. It's a tough thing to do. He would love to share that rain. Yes. Okay. Another idea for me and AZ, install the swing. Well, yes. You don't want to encourage him. You just don't. Yes. So yeah, Cliff Jumper, AZ might not be drinking alcohol. He has in the past. It depends sort of where he is on the ups and downs if alcohol is a good or bad idea. Oh, Joe, AZ's ability to keep going is amazing. I was chatting about alcoholism with stand-up. Stand-up is very punishing. Like, all jokes aside, really high suicide rate among comedians. Very high rate of depression among comedians. So it is a tough life psychologically. And it can be tough physically. That's why Aidsy actually had to stop doing stand-up, because he got rheumatoid arthritis and got quite sick and was getting chemo for it. Then he got all bloated and stuff. And he wasn't well enough to go on stage. He certainly couldn't stand up to touring, the physical punishment of touring. But he said even when, if he tried to do a local show, he got on stage, he was so obviously sick that the audiences were too uncomfortable to laugh. There's a question of why is there such a high suicide rate and comedians? That's a good question. It is punishing psychologically, but there's a question of, does comedy make people depressed and suicidal, or do people with that tendency, are they more likely to seek out something like comedy where you get affirmation from a crowd, the one thing that you're after all the time because you have these bad feelings about yourself, and if you get applause and laughs from a crowd, it gives you an affirmation you're looking for. So I'm sure there have been studies done. I'm sure people have really looked into it as like, does comedy cause depression, or does depression make people more likely to do comedy? Because that was one of the lines Robin Williams that people quote. He said, really sad people often make an enormous effort to make other people laugh and be happy because they can't feel it themselves and they want other people to do. Yes, Peter Sellers, Chris Farley, Robin Williams, those are high profile ones. There are hundreds more that you don't know. Yeah, I like The Birdcage. I thought that was a pretty good movie. Remake of the French film La Cage aux Folles. Oh my God, the worst thing I read about Robin Williams, I forget who it was who wrote it, but it was someone who'd worked with Robin Williams who was friends with him. But he was in London while Robin Williams was in Los Angeles. And a day or two before Robin Williams committed suicide, he got a missed call. It was like 2 a.m. in London. His phone rang at 2 a.m. He didn't answer it. And it was from Robin Williams. And it was dead a day or two later. And the person was having real trouble dealing with that. Like, oh, was he hoping to have someone friendly to talk to and I didn't answer? It's like, oh. So, yes, but life is complicated. It's always hard to be sure, what drives, what's the chicken, what's the egg. I did see that rumour, Tendai, that Will Smith was going to be a genie in the live action Aladdin movie, which would be interesting to see because Will Smith is quite funny. Yeah, so God, that's a fun thing to talk about, isn't it? Depression and suicide. Yay! Yeah, I mean, Cliff Jumper, I get that joke about, women wouldn't have war. There'd just been, periods, intense negotiation. I get that that's a joke, but it's got no relationship to reality. A, there would be wars, and B, the idea of saying a woman is more emotional than a man in a period is horseshit, quite honestly. You're right, Jack, man. It is actually important to be open, talking about things like mental health, suicide, suicidal thoughts. But Yeah. I'm just saying it's not... No. Sorry, Cliff Jumper. I did get that you were just joking about the idiots who were upset about Doctor Who. I actually did see that. So, yeah. It's just that the whole thing about a woman president is such a tired thing that people trot out, and it's not even real. Like, A, women would start wars, and B, a menstruating woman is no more moody than a man. They can feel, because it can cause physical pain quite often, and the hormones changing that rapidly can definitely affect your mood. But the idea that men aren't emotional and don't start political conflict out of emotion is fucking ridiculous and is completely ignoring reality. Well, yeah, Margaret Thatcher in the Falklands. She went to war when no one wanted to, so... Joe, Will, that line about Clinton causing war was the biggest load of fucking horseshit, because Clinton is a career political hack. It's all about the diplomacy and the trade-offs and whatnot, whereas Trump is a hideous, petulant child incapable of having coherent adult thoughts, and he is, in theory at least, in charge of the world's largest army and nuclear arsenal, which is fucking terrifying for someone who is so clearly led by childlike emotion and insecurity. It's fucking terrifying. Whereas Clinton was a really boring pragmatist. Clinton was not about big spikes in drama and tension. Clinton's about keeping everything flat. So that was just one of the many ridiculous lies Trump supporters get. Clinton wants a war. Clinton doesn't want a war. Clinton's a career politician and diplomat. It's fucking ridiculous, the things said about them. Barry O is currently enjoying not having Fox. Yes. Barry O is having far too good a time. I love the pictures of Obama on holidays, and I saw someone caption them online, seeing Obama looking really happy and relaxed on holidays. They're going, God, this is like seeing a picture of your ex when you're still heartbroken after a breakup and they're out having a good time looking fantastic. It's just cruel. It's just cruel that he's having such a happy, relaxed time while the rest of us are facing the Trump horror. But yeah, shit happens. That's the way it goes. Tish for Cliff Jumper. Trump thought the nuclear arsenal was a football team in London. Joe, well, it is a very interesting question how we went from... Look, I won't say he's perfect or godlike Obama, but as a person of intelligence and integrity of a sort, definitely, through to a stumbling fucking idiot like Trump. I don't know. I'm just imagining if we don't wipe ourselves out, future historians, like 100, 200 years, looking at this little period in history, just going, what the fuck? What in the actual fuck? Like looking at global warming deniers and anti-vaxxers, flat earthers, just looking at people going, these people had all the answers, like all the answers, all of them, and they chose to reject them. This is not people in the Middle Ages living in ignorance who didn't know any better. This is people who had all the answers right in front of them, and they consciously chose to reject that. What the fuck is that about? What the fuck? Okay, so I just saw this. Shatma, angry, talking to mate, US getting Nazi scientists was the best possible solution for nukes and generals. Created the peace. Well, yes, the mutually assured destruction. I don't know. See, I lived through the 80s when we all thought we were going to die in nuclear war because of the escalations between the US and the Soviet Union. the defenders of the American nuclear arsenal said it was like mutually assured destruction. It's actually keeping the peace. In retrospect, it happened. You know, we actually survived. So, you know, I was very much, and still am very much, on the anti-nuke side. But, I don't know, it's impossible to know because the nuclear war didn't happen. We're all paranoid about it, but it didn't happen. You know, all the stuff Reagan said came true, you know. The Soviet Union collapsed. So, stuff Reagan said came true. And the stuff I was worried about didn't come true. So, I honestly don't know. Obviously, we're not out of the woods because the existence of all the nuclear weapons means the threat's still there. The threat stays there. So, you know, who knows? Oh, the movie On the Beach. How long have we been streaming for now? 140 minutes. So 2 hours and 20 minutes. So I'll probably go, because I started earlier than I normally do. I might go for, I don't know how long I'll go for actually. Not going to go for 3 hours. Might go for another, I don't know, 20 minutes or so. That'll be like 2.5 hours, a bit longer. It is. This is the longest one I've... That's what she said. This is the longest one you've done. Yes, that was just circumstances. Actually, the big circumstance is Mrs. Angry and her son started watching Star Trek an hour earlier than they normally do. Doctor Strangelove is a good nuclear war-based movie, David. You're absolutely right. And it is one of the best. It is very good. Peter Sellers playing the 3 different roles is really quite good. A lot of it's incredibly unsubtle. You know, one of the American generals being called Jack D. Ripper, and there's another one of them had an equally implausible name. And the whole thing with Dr. Strangelove being crippled and doing the uncontrollable Hitler salutes and trying to pull his hand down and talk to the president. But yes, so, you know, it's weird having lived through where we all thought we were going to die in nuclear war and didn't. What's happening now? I don't freaking know. This is crazy. Really hope nobody I know is ever in these live streams because I die. It's just the way it is. What am I drinking? I'm literally only drinking Pepsi tonight. So I used to always make jokes because I was always drinking in my early videos, and I wouldn't say what I was drinking. I was going, because I won't say until I get an endorsement deal, and I'll say whoever pays me. But the secret got out. I drink Pepsi Max. Yes, 3 glasses, so probably lucky there was no alcohol in them, or I'd be really fucking legless. So, yes. But yes, no, I'll drink so much volume I'll have to get up to pee in the middle of the night, which I don't normally, because I normally stop drinking liquid quite a while before I go to bed, so I don't have to do that. But with you fine people, I'm trying to keep my throat lubricated with liquid and, you know, Joe, you're funny to watch when drunk. Most people are kind of funny when they're drunk. You know, I talk even more than normal when I'm drunk, which you may find hard to believe, but I do. No, I find the caffeine doesn't really keep me awake. But by the same token, I usually stop drinking a couple of hours before I go to bed to try and not be kept up by caffeine. But I'm fairly, well, you know, I'll report back. Did I sleep through tonight? I usually don't have trouble going to sleep. Like, I wouldn't want to drink an energy drink now, but there's not enough caffeine in the Pepsi Max to keep me awake. And I'm saying that, I might be lying there at midnight going, oh, fuck, I still can't sleep. There's no reason to get drunk just because, you know, I drink alcohol. I'd never coerce or even encourage someone to drink alcohol if they didn't want to. And it is dangerous. Like you say, people who want to like legalize marijuana, it's like, oh my God, why is marijuana illegal and alcohol's legal. And then you get people who will come up with scare stories about marijuana, and it's like, you cannot come up with a scarier story about marijuana than what we know for a fact alcohol does, okay? It's like all the scare stories about marijuana are stupid. They're dumb as shit. There's no way, there is no way that marijuana is more dangerous than alcohol. There just isn't. MJ Aussie, missed the old AA just okay, was angry and more popular. Oh, now you made me cry. Are you proud? Things change. And I didn't change very well with YouTube. Look, the peak for me on YouTube was when they had localized search. You could do, basically, if someone was from an Australian IP address, what they saw would be biased towards Australian content. And they used to have the sort of search tabs on YouTube where it wasn't just most popular, you also get most commented on and most favorited and whatnot. And if you were in Australia, that would be the most commented in Australia. So you could be comparatively small and you'd get seen by more people. And as soon as they stopped doing that, I just took a nasty hit that I never recovered from. And I also think I'm just not very good at promotion, self-promotion. But yeah, am I angry? I guess I do more diverse stuff now. Like I did virtually all the stuff for the first couple years in the angry style. Well, Cliff Chopper, yeah, reinventing also is just evolution. You know, I've been doing YouTube for 11 years, and the world changed and I changed. You know, I still do videos where I shout and rant. This live streaming is relatively new on YouTube for me, and I just really enjoy it. So I'm doing a lot of it. And, you know, I'm trying to do the other videos. I think, yeah, I need to bloody pair up with someone who's good at promotion. Because I see other channels growing and quite honestly, they're kind of shit and don't have a lot to offer. And I struggle to work out why is that channel growing? I don't get it. And I need to get my head in the right space if I want my channel to grow. You know, I'm quite happy. I do it for fun and I'm quite happy doing what I do. Yeah, Cliff Jumper, I need to be more stable with TFU Friday and Wanker Fat Wednesday. Business cards and mail them out to random addresses. That is a truly weird plan, Celtic King. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I need to get more focused, and that's part of my life-changing, the tapping thing we've been talking about. It's not just about losing weight, although that's a big thing I want to do. It's about sort of refocusing and meeting goals. Like you can use it, go, okay, even though, you know, I could, and I will actually do this, like, yeah, even though my YouTube channel isn't as big as I want it to be, I accept myself anyway. You know, and you can actually do things like, you know, I'm visioning having 100,000 subscribers by next year, and you know, 100,000. And that is a thing I'm actually doing. Cliff Jumping called the angry. Maybe I should bring the angry fan back. I just, yeah, let that go. That was fun. I had that for a couple of years. I would have fun conversations, or people would just leave voicemail, and I'd have something really abusive on the voicemail. But you know, things change. I'm gonna do. Yeah, see, MJ, I had so many conversations on the angry phone. It was fun, you know, and that was why I did it. It's like, hey, let's do a completely random thing. I got a prepaid phone, and I'll actually give that number out, and anyone can call it, and we'll see what happens. And that was a lot of fun. I'll do it again one day. Who knows? Ruki said, you called pissed off your face. Oh my God. Ruki said, you know who had to apologise really bad? It's one of the lads I met here in Melbourne at one of our meetups. And he actually had my real phone number because we were doing stuff around Melbourne and staying in touch. And I would switch the Angry phone off when I went to bed so people couldn't wake me up. But this guy, he had my real phone number and he was really drunk one night. And I was getting phone calls at 2 and 3 a.m. He was really drunk with his friends. He's going, nah, silly, I know AngryAussie. Angry, tell him I know you. Tell him we're mates. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm saving this up. You are so dead. And then that was like Saturday night. And then Sunday afternoon, a lady, he called me and goes, I don't really remember what happened last night, but I looked at my phone and it said I called you a couple times at 2 or 3 in the morning. And sorry. Oh, dude, sorry doesn't begin, okay? I am saving this up and I am going to make you pay for it. Do I have a landline? Yes, I do. Are you suggesting I tell people the land? No, but I can't shut the landline off at night. So I'm not going to do that. And besides, like my family members know the landline, and if I got a call in the middle of the night, I'd think it was an emergency. So I can't get. That's why I just got, you know, a prepaid phone. It's just a number. It's disposable. If I got bored with it, I just stopped doing it, which is what ended up happening. But I like the idea. I saw the thing in there that I should have guests. Yes, I will. I will. You know, I might get Viola to come back one time. Great to have Aussie. Yeah, well, I have actually been saying to a few friends, you should just come around and do a live stream. Particularly, you know, if we did it on Friday or Saturday night with a few drinkies, it'd be fun. Ruku-san, I would assume you have my proper phone number, probably. Yes. That's the thing, Joe. And that's why, yeah, I don't use it landline. I remember seeing in the early days of YouTube a guy who was quite popular gave out a landline because, you know, he wasn't using only using cell phone. He just had a answering machine there and he'd play back the messages in videos. But he was a young bloke who lived by himself. Then, you know, I have a family, so I can't have the phone ringing in the middle of the night. So there are limits on what I can do. I've done live TFU Friday before and posted the video. Though we did it at a YouTube meetup. Aidsy and I did a live TFU Friday in front of an audience. That was fun. That was a little bit different. But yeah, I definitely am aiming to get some guests in here and do live streams with them because it's fun. Oh, I think the Star Trek just finished, so I'm going to finish. Oh, as Celtic King, it's not about paying for a prepaid phone because they're really cheap. I can get one for like $5 a month, you know, because I don't make outgoing calls on it. So it's not expensive. It's just not into the idea at the moment. But yes, look, okay, that's 2.5 hours. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a new benchmark, over 150 minutes. So I'm going to leave it there. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining in and keeping me company tonight. I have enjoyed it as always. And yes, I will be trying to get guests in because I think that would be fun. And we will see. No, I'm going to bed. Good night. It's a record for a live stream, not a record for a video. But fare thee well all. Thank you for dropping by. I'll be back soon. I'll probably do a pre-recorded TFU Friday tomorrow. Sorry, Wankafat Wednesday tomorrow. Laughing at the idiots who are upset about female Doctor Who. So thank you everyone for hanging out. I'll see you again soon. And bye now.